our province and around our world. Hopefully in the coming months and the days ahead, we will all be able to gather again as a Marist family when our COVID difficulties are behind us. I am truly humbled to be speaking to you this morning and would like to express my sincere gratitude to all the brothers of our province who deem me worthy to serve as your next provincial. I walk on the shoulders of giants, many of whom are part of this gathering of this chapter. I pray that I might serve you with the grace and wisdom that so many of our previous leaders have blessed our province with over the years. I believe each of them is a true example of what servant leadership should be. I am most especially grateful for having had Patrick to be my incredible mentor these last 6 years, who has allowed me to grow in knowledge and understanding of the many graces and challenges that this new role will bring. He has taught me by example the two most essential lessons for my having any hope of success. First, to entrust this work to the Sacred Hearts of Jesus and Mary. And secondly, to always act out of a deep love for all of our brothers, all in our province, and for all around our Marist world. I pledge to you this morning my deepest desire to faithfully serve each of you well in the years ahead. I ask as we move forward together that you hold the needs of our province and all of our USA Marists in your daily prayers. Let us, as Champagne did many years ago, entrust this work before us to our good mother and know that she will not allow us or her project to fail. As I began to prepare for today and the days that lie ahead, I quickly knew that I needed to select a vice provincial who would walk this journey with me as my brother and who would enable our province to grow through his vision, his hard work, and his deep love for our Marist way of life. I am blessed that Brother Owen Ormsby is willing to fulfill this role, and I ask that our chapter delegates would affirm him as my choice for vice provincial and as our first provincial councillor. 20 years ago, the former United States provinces of Esopus and Poughkeepsie joined together to once again form one USA province. In honor of that effort, our province adopted the name of the Holy Family, which we have a picture of here today, as a way of combining the patrons of the former provinces of St. Anne and St. Joseph. We live today as one province. And I ask you to prayerfully join with me in celebrating that rich history on our Marist journey, recalling the many blessings that God has already bestowed on us as a province. So let us together reflect on the Holy Family during these next 3 years. This first year, we will join the Universal Church's celebration of the year of St. Joseph. Next year, we will focus on Mary, our good mother, and in the concluding year of my term, we will place Jesus at the center of our theme as we strive to live out our common Marist mission of making him known and loved. In the weeks, months, and years ahead, numerous prayer resources and opportunities to engage in reflection around the theme of the Holy Family will be forthcoming to all members of the province. As I begin my time as your provincial and look to the future, I am filled with great hope and much gratitude. We are blessed as a province to have countless wisdom figures in our midst who have helped build the way of Marist life here in the United States. Many of our senior brothers and our longtime lay Marists have paved the very roads that we walk. Their labors have built the buildings and the programs that are at the very core of our mission. To our Marist elders, I ask that you continue to guide us by your witness, and especially your fidelity for praying for our future, so that we too might have the courage and foresight to create Marist life and continue your work in deepening our Marist mission. To those in our province that are fully engaged in our ministries and mission today, I am grateful for all you do and how you live out our Marist charism here in the United States. I'm thankful for the incredible sacrifices so many of you make on a day-to-day basis to strengthen our mission. Our journey of becoming all that Champagne dreamed of is far from over. I believe we are at a critical point in our juncture of our history of the United States as a province. If the next generation of Marists in our country are going to have a future, I believe we will need to take risks, informed by wisdom. The old days of this is the way we've always done it will not produce future Marist life. A failure on our part to respond to the urgent needs and signs of our times will not move us forward. We must be sowers of hope and willing to constantly ask ourselves, who is Champagne calling us to be today? And there will be a need for some new structures to meet these future needs. And there are needs. All of us are keenly aware that we currently only have one brother in the administration of our 6 Marist-owned schools and none in the administration of the MBC in Esopus or at Camp Marist. In addition, many of our seasoned lay administrators will shortly be approaching the retirement age. Who will be future keepers of our charism in our ministries? Are our ministries fully vehicles of evangelization that they need to be? These are the realities that face us. In an effort to respond to these and many other growing needs in our ministries, I am creating today a U.S. Office of Marist Ministries. This new office will support each of our ministries, placing a special emphasis on the formation of future Marist leaders, the formation of board members, as well as ensuring that each of our institutions is solidly focused on being a true place of evangelization that lives our Marist charism and mission. I am grateful that Brother Hank Hammer, who has agreed to join with Brother Tom Shady to begin this new initiative, as this office will be vital to our common future of the mission of our province. I ask our chapter delegates to also affirm Hank Hammer as the provincial counselor for the next 3 years. In regard to the size and the remaining composition of our next council, I would respectfully ask our chapter delegates to consider the following criteria in your discernment process in the days ahead. I would find it very helpful to have a council that consisted of either 5 or 6 total members in addition to myself. I leave the final number to your disposition. I would, however, ask this of those who choose to consider their names being left in after nomination, that each councillor would need to be willing to frequently travel, as our council meetings will continue to take place in each of the regions of our province, as well as attending joint council meetings held throughout the Arco Norte province. It is vital to the future of our ministries that we as a provincial council take time to deepen our ongoing relationships as trustees with the administrations of all our ministries and with all of their boards. We will need councillors who are willing to think outside the box. I have already indicated that new structures will be needed in facing some future needs. I would hope that the council would work with me to provide a sense of vision as we begin this 3rd century of Marist life and mission. We need councillors who are willing to make the work of the province a priority. While all of us do important work, this is a critical time for our province and leadership is demanded. We need councillors who are willing to embrace Marcelin's dream of a global family and a Marist family that includes all 5 branches, including our Marist lady. And finally, we need councillors who are willing to embrace responsibilities that we will have for the District of Canada, the Arco Norte region, and the Institute. Apart from the invaluable insights and wisdom that Owen and Hank would provide for me, some of the other needed perspectives and voices which I would find most helpful to be at the table as councillors include a brother who has a wide vision of our Marist world and our involvement as a member of the Arco Norte region, and our commitment to a growing Marist global family, which continues to deepen and expand. I have found that in my time serving on the provincial council, experience in global leadership and perspective has been an invaluable voice at our council tables. A brother who is willing to guide the continued evolution of our Marist brother formation programs will be a needed voice. In the coming months, we will need to implement the findings of a recent evaluation of our U.S. initial formation program so that recommendations of that study might be reflected as we move into the future of the young men that will join us. For many years now, we've been blessed to adequately meet the needs, both physical and pastoral, of our senior brothers. I consider them to be our greatest treasure and source of wisdom. We must ensure that we always have their needs, concerns, and represented voice in our decision making. I would be most grateful to have a brother that would always speak for the needed voice in the province of our senior brothers. And lastly, a brother who has a passion for solidarity with our least favored would be a critical presence and voice on the next council, as this is an area I intend to grow within our province. Apart from these councilors, there are a number of other needed voices that will often be invited to be part of our decision-making as we move forward. They include the voices of our evangelization efforts, the voices of our people, our lay marists, our province medical staff, and none of this would be possible without the careful stewardship and input from our province finance office, development office, as well as our finance and investment teams, who do so much work to make it all happen. So please, brothers, discern with the Lord who can best help us as we face future challenges, for there will be and are many challenges to face. During the recent season of Lent, we may often have heard the words of the song, "The Lord hears the cry of the poor." As a province, can we do a better job at truly embracing the words of that song and respond to the cry of the poor in even more profound ways? As Marists, we bear the name of Mary. As a USA province, how might we continue to be the face of Mary in a church at a time when so many are in need of such resource and inspiration? At our most recent general chapter, we were called to be bridge builders, to journey with young people and children living on the margins of life, and to respond boldly to emerging needs. What bridges do we as a province need to build? What new structures do we need to build those bridges? Bridges for young people, the marginalized, the brothers and fellow lay Marists of our Arco Norte region, with our global Marist family, and with all our Marists of Champagne here in the USA. As we set out to build these bridges, let us remember and pray as Champagne so often did, that the Lord does not build the house. I believe that during this past year, one of the most hopeful signs of life for our province has been the continued development of our Marists of Champagne program. For more than a generation, our USA Lay Marist efforts have continued to deepen and grow through the hard work of many Marists. Well, the plane has finally landed. We know we now have a vehicle for our brothers and lay Marists to move forward in communion together, supporting each other in our unique vocations and in developing a path that allows us to work together in fostering our common Marist mission here in the United States. A special word of thanks to our USA Council of Lay Marists for all their efforts in the creation and implementation of our new Marist of Champagne formation program, and to the 57 USA Marists in this first cohort of that program. You have been bold and daring, and like our founder, you have shown persistence in making this dream become a reality. Our institute calls us as brothers to walk in communion with our lay Marists so that together we can grow our mission as Marists of Champagne. Are we willing to work together, pray together, live together for that mission? Are we as brothers willing to empower with them? If not now, when? We as brothers must do all we can to help and foster and deepen their call to live their unique vocation as lay Marists, and we must encourage others to join them. Likewise, we ask them to promote our way of life among the young men that they may know, so that together we build a common future that will continue to have brothers and lay Marists working in communion in the generations that will follow us. 204 years ago, Marshland was convinced for the need of brothers to build his dream. Today, as his dream continues to expand around our world, we need all Marists of Champagne, brothers and lay Marists, to respond to the many montañas in our current world. Together, we are called to be a true Marian face of our church. We've been blessed as you years by a number of young men who are answering the call to our Marist brotherhood. We are joined here today by Sam Amos, who professed his final vows only a few months ago, by Louis Ramos, who continues his initial formation as a temporary professed brother, as well as by Rob Dittis and Ryan Richer, who are currently in our posthumously program. When I look at great young men that we have here with us who want to embrace our dream and our way of life, I'm reminded of the words of Sister Joan Chittister, who, when speaking about the future of religious life in our country, once said, "Who is it to say the best of your years are not yet to come?" May Mary, our good mother, continue to bless our province with many more vocations to both our Marist Brotherhood and to our lay Marist movement. Let us pray for all Marist vocations as if it all depends on God. But yet, let us work for vocations as if it all depended on us. To every single brother and lay Marist in our province, if you truly believe and desire a future that this important work must exist, then it is up to you to take into your hands the importance of vocations and encourage all to do so and to follow us. To our young Marist, young adults, and our Marist youth of today, and all the young people who may have a vocation to be a Marist brother or to a Marist of Champagne, you are the yet to be determined dream, realized dream of Champagne. You are needed in the years ahead. I pray that you will continue to walk with us, to grow with us, to deepen your love of Jesus and Mary with us, so that one day we may pass the torch of our Marist charism to you as the Marist leaders of tomorrow. While we have much to be grateful and excited about as we look forward to as a USA province, our road ahead will also be filled with many challenges for us as brothers, as communities, for our lay Marists, and for all our ministries, and for all who are proud to be USA Marists of Champagne. If we are truly to embrace the gospel that we are each called to live, that we cannot do so without also embracing the crosses that will come in living that gospel. Today as a church, we celebrate and continue to celebrate the Easter season and Christ's resurrection. But we must remember that we cannot enjoy the celebration of Easter and the hope that Easter brings unless we first endure and follow Christ on the journey of Good Friday. While we have much to be proud of and grateful for in our rich history of Marist life here in the United States, we also must continue to reconcile the collective sins of some of our province members in earlier times. There shamefully have been claims of sexual abuse committed against young people that were entrusted to our care. We must own that sad fact. We must pray for those victims, do all we can to make amends, and as we have actively done for so many years now, do everything we can to ensure that such acts will never be allowed or tolerated ever again. For the past 16 years, our province and each of our ministries have been fully accredited by Presidium in regards to ensuring the protection and safeguarding of all young people and vulnerable adults entrusted to our care. We as a province are fully committed to being proactive in every possible way to safeguard the dignity and rights of all children. I ask each of you, my brothers and lay Marists, to rededicate yourselves to this sacred commitment as we journey forth together. Likewise, we also live in a period of history in our country and in our world where many injustices continue to run rampant, such as racial, gender, sexual orientation, and economic disparities and discrimination among too many peoples. We as a USA province will continue to challenge all our members and our ministries to find ways to be a beacon of hope in these very turbulent times. We must continue to model how a Marist community embraces diversity and is built on acceptance, love, and how together and united we foster our common Marist mission. By the lives we live, we must always give witness to the truth that everyone is our brother, that everyone is our sister. We are living in unparalleled times. We may never again return to what we experienced as normal. If COVID has taught us anything, it has taught us that we need each other, that we must work at being connected to each other, that even in times of crisis, opportunities do exist. Over the next 3 years, we will continue to face new challenges. A few of these will be in the areas of community, finances, and staffing. If we want to attract new members, we will need to grow a number of communities that will be attractive to younger people and formative for our younger members. We may need to create more mixed communities of brothers and lay Marists if our mission is to grow, thrive, and meet the current signs of our times. We will also probably have to make some tough decisions about the viability of some residences when we no longer can find folks willing to move to a community in need of more members. As a province, we have been incredibly blessed by all those who have worked tirelessly for many years in the areas of finance, investment, and fundraising. As a result of their heroic efforts, our senior brothers are able to receive the loving care and comfort they so richly deserve. As we look to the future, we are grateful that we have the security in knowing that our retirement income and funds will continue to meet the many needs of our senior brothers. As we look to the future of our Marist mission, however, we must strategically focus on sustainability. We have limited resources for the future, both in personnel and in finances. We must, in the coming years, increase significant funds for province operations. We will also need to add personnel in a number of key areas if we wish to not only sustain, but also to grow our province. We need to empower some younger folks to take on leadership, and we will need to mentor them so they can grow into competent leaders who deeply love and embrace our Marist mission. We must do all we can to ensure that we are true keepers of our graced charism. And in closing, I simply wish to again express my deepest gratitude to you, our chapter delegates, for the wisdom and direction that you will provide me and our new council through your discernment and your deliberations. I thank all our in-person and virtual guests that are joining us here today, who will add insights and important voices to our discussions in the days ahead, especially to our lay Marists and our Marist young adults. Lastly, I again ask that you join me daily in entrusting all the needs of those in our province and all of our ministries to our good mother. With and through her, all things are possible. Praise be Jesus Christ.
Amen.